So there's this technical term in Christian academia that gets kicked around by theologians, apologists, Christian scholars, and that term is an embarrassment of riches. And what it has to do with is just the tons of manuscripts, primary sources, archaeological finds, just a ton of stuff. It basically so much stuff, it's like an embarrassment. It's just so much to deal with. But I think the same could be applied to extreme metal. All the great albums that we have released, especially in 2024. Oh, hi. My name's Jorge. I grew up in the 80s, and I used to love getting into trouble. I was and still am a huge fan of cats. I take my faith very seriously. I went to college at a Christian school studying ministry, and I've been a music fan my entire life, of all kinds. Recently discovering I like extreme metal, and I want to invite you to journey with me on my discovery of extreme metal. What is up, folks? Welcome back to A Christian Collects Death Metal. It's your pal Jorge here, back at you with another video. Thanks for stopping by, and once again, welcome back. My friends, today we will be discussing my top 10 albums of 2024. Like I said in the beginning, there's so much good material released this year. It was actually quite a challenge. There was a few that I knew from the beginning, months into 2024 that, hey, these probably going to be a mainstay. And yeah, they stuck to the end. And surprisingly, there's a couple releases that are so recent, I almost debated. I tried to find ways to keep them off of this list, just because I didn't think it was fair to all the albums that had been released and been, around, and all of a sudden, you get this album that's released a few weeks ago or maybe last month, and people's on somewhat of a sugar high, and will it wear away? These few modern ones that are here, I think there's quite a bit of merit to them, but we'll get into all that. So without further ado, so coming in at the number 10 spot, we have some black metal, and it's kind of took me by surprise how much black metal ended up on this list. It's almost half and half. I mean, well, not really. I don't know. There's more than what I thought. But you know what? Hey, that's just how the cards fell this year. So we have Hasle with Apex Predator coming out as Sentient Ruin, released earlier on in the year. I think March or April. I'm not sure, but it was pretty early on. So this is raw black metal, but what people call raw black metal today, I don't think is quite accurate. It just has that sort of aesthetic, that sort of sound to it. That is what you get here. You have that sound, and it also has a bit of a punk element as well. Not so much hardcore, I guess, but just punk. Yeah, punk and raw black metal. It's an interesting mix. These songs go anywhere from 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes. So it's a pretty short, pithy, record. Short, sweet, to the point, punchy. It's, if you haven't checked it out, give it a listen. Super good. One of the standouts of 2024, Hasle, Apex Predator. Coming in at number 9, we have Wuldergast. I don't know. Cold Light is the name of the album. This was released just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, another black metal album. Imagine that. So, yeah, this is an interesting release because, like I said, this is so modern of a release that I was trying to find ways to keep it off the list, but it was just so good, I had to include it anyway. It definitely black metal to be sure, but there are elements of thrash in this that make it sound really interesting. And when you get halfway through the record, you have some new wave of British heavy metal bits, and I almost checked out at that point. Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, stuff like that, that's not for me. If that's your thing, I know those are beloved bands, stuff like that. Not my thing. And so when I heard that later on in Cold Light, this album, I was like, man, I don't know. Why did they have to go and do this? But then to see how they incorporated it, and I'm not trying to, you know, talk crap about new wave British heavy metal. There is some that I do admire and do like, but it's just really not my thing, if I'm being honest. But to see how they incorporated that sort of style into black metal was really interesting. And not only does it work, I really latched onto it. I enjoy this album quite a bit. Watergast, Cold Light, Coming in at number 8, we have Zoom Pantley, however you say it. Beating the Drums of Ancestral Force. I was a big fan of their debut. Have that as well. $20 spin. Big year for those guys over at that label. Quite a year for them. A lot of great quality releases. This is one of them. Released earlier on in 2024. This has stuck with me the duration of 2024. And I will continue to listen to this album. Some great death doom stuff here. But just the use of drums in this album. Very primal and feral sounding. It really goes a long way, and then you have that good production from $20 spin. It really makes this an exceptional album. That's my number 8 spot. Coming in at number 7, from Transcending Obscurity all the way in India, we have Velburner with The Duality of Decapitation and Wisdom. What a name, right? So, yeah, committing a cardinal sin and talking about a few albums that I don't own yet the physical copies to. However, they are on the way. Yeah, actually, I should be getting Velburner here anytime, actually. But anyway, came out a few months ago. Transcending Obscurity is one of those labels that, you know, I try to keep an eye on. They have so many releases and a lot of quality stuff, you know, all the cool variants they do and everything. And so with this new Velburner album, it piqued my interest just because of the artwork, and I listened to it, and immediately some things that stuck to mind was like, this reminds me of, especially the vocal style and some of the death doomy stuff. This is like experimental type death doom metal, I guess you would call it. I really don't know, but it reminded me of Swallowed Lunar Terrial, especially that vocalist. Now this guy on Velburner, he does some different stuff, some I guess kind of clean type singing, but anyway, just it's a monumental album for them. I heard some of their previous stuff, and to hear this, and of course there's a lot of meaning behind it too. You know, the number 7 being, you know, divine number. Every song, 7 songs on the album, 7 minutes in length each song. But just the material itself, the musicianship, it's just high quality. It ended up on the list. Coming in at number 6, we have from Transylvanian Recordings out of Oakland, Cali, I believe. Yeah. Abyssal, Glacial. This is Funeral Doom done to perfection. It is slow. It is arduous. It takes more than a while to get there, but man, when it does, it is so heavy. Produced by Liam ALN with Ms. Moore. The quality of this album, and I don't know what they've done to it. I don't know if this is like a one-step process or something. There's something different about this album. I think they talk about it on the Bandcamp. But the quality of the pressing itself, this is the only album that I cannot play with the dust cover down. You shouldn't probably play with the dust cover down anyway. A lot of people don't even have dust covers. I just have a simple turntable. I cannot have that dust cover down. As much as I try to deal with the sound isolation and what have you, it will rattle and come through the speakers. It's crazy. The only album that even comes close to this that I own, well, there's 2 of them. Rage Against the Machine, self-titled, and also Sublime, of all things. Sublime, self-titled. Yeah, some of the bass on that Sublime album, I thought, man, this is one of the best I have as far as low-end quality. And then I heard this. Wow. I can literally feel my feet vibrating from the floorboard. I kid you not. It is not hyperbole. It is insane. Whatever they done to this record, I think it went straight from master to I don't know exactly, But anyway, they did a phenomenal job. The guys are great. I think from Mexico, some of the best funeral doom in the game. And the number number 5 spot, my 5th favorite album of the year. We're getting down to it now in the top 5. Burning in Celestial Poison by Black Curse. You know, I think the producer of the year should be Arthur Risk. He produced not only this, but Spectral Voice, Blood Incantation, and he's really showing his production chops, because none of these records sound alike. These aren't the only ones he produced in 2024 either. You can check him out on Metal Archives. But man, this guy knows what he's doing, and he knows what, you know, he obviously the band is going for a certain sound, especially these guys, right? And so he does what he does his magic and adheres to their wishes, and what comes out is just something absolutely magical. This is a great album. You know, it may sound cliche, but this is really a journey from point A to point B. It's not a typical album by a long shot. It's not a normal album. You know, they're definitely going for some thematic stuff. There's messaging behind everything. The song structure, the layout, the composition. It really is a journey from point A to point B, and whatever happens in between, well, it's a bunch of craziness, as you know. One of my favorite albums. Coming in at number 4. I'm gonna have to go to church after this one. Satan, Soldier of Fortune, Departure Chandelier by the fine folks over at Nuclear War Now Productions. Iconic, legendary, underground label. Wow, quality material. I mean, I've been a fan of these guys. I have everything that they've ever put out. Some great Napoleonic war metal, or actually they call it Black War Napoleonic metal, I think. I don't know. Anyway, it's great stuff. You got the synth stuff in here, though not as prevalent as their debut. But man, hard as a coffin nail. But really the one that I really like is that one right behind that. Boy, try to pronounce this. Acitripede? I don't know. Anyway, the tremolo picking, like fuzzy, raw sounding. It definitely has that sort of early 90s raw thing going for it. I think they produced this on the same 4-track that they originally produced the debut album on, or whatever. So yeah, there's definitely a conviction there for that sort of sound. And man, it just sounds so good. And even though it's not really quite what I would think of as raw, it definitely has that aesthetic. They really achieved something great here, of course. Coming in at number 3 is a very special album. We have Retribution of the Witch's Hammer. Some more black metal. So all this black metal, you know, it was in the cards, I guess, right? This is these guys' debut full length, Reppin' Proper, right? Came out earlier this year. One of the greatest black metal releases of 2024, and dare I say, in recent memory. I was so impressed by this. As someone who's not really a black metal, I say that, but you have tons of black metal. Man, this really, really hit home. I don't even know how I think I was following Jimmy, and I seen that he had posted some stuff about it earlier on in the year, and I'm like, check it out. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, wow. Great production. It sounds really, really good. It sounds like the type of it sounds like what black metal should sound like. It's such a great album. You got the lads right here. Big fan, great album. If you haven't heard this yet, do yourself a favor. I'm not going to be one of these guys that say, wait till the end of the video. No, stop it now. I'll leave a link in the description. Run over, listen to this, check it out. It's totally worth your time. Hexenhaus, Retribution of the Witch's Hammer. And number 2, my second favorite album of 2024, we have Spectral Voice, Sporagmos. What can I say? Y'all know it. 4 tracks of just some of the best death doom, put out, in my opinion. It's definitely a bit of a different take compared to their earlier stuff, especially necrotic demos or corridors. They're slowing things down a little bit, but man, it is so impactful. It's weighty, super girthy, right? It's everything you could ever hope to ask for in a Death Doom album. And of course, just like Nuclear War now, these got Dark Descent, they always give you your money's worth. They give you posters, postcards, stickers, they really go all out. These are people that care about what they do. And, all these labels all these albums that I'm mentioning, the labels that they're associated with, these are people who really care about what they do. And you could tell just by the quality of the material that they release. My number 1 pick would be Maze Envy by Severus. The fine folks over at $20 Spin. These guys used to be with Transylvanian Recordings. Their first record, I absolutely adored it. Of course, produced by MSW of Hell, right? And man, they came out with this, and even Fantano, right? Letting his metal side show, giving this album a 9. Shame on him. I say it should have been a 10. For real. And I'm one of these guys that try to, pick out stuff just to deduct points. Man, this perfect album, man. It's no question. Death Doom, but just I always say the acoustic bits, but I don't know if that's all the way accurate. There are some, slowed down bits that really add something different, something special to this. Then they have the blackened, tremolo stuff going on. I thought that they had kind of lost the blackened edge, but when I revisited this and was listening to this a couple times this week, no, it's still there. There's just so much more to it. Man, Labyrinth Charm, Leviathan Tomb. Dude, this is a heavy hitting album. Kudos to Fantano for giving it the props. This is my number 1 pick for 2024. There you have it. Some great stuff here. Again, thank you for stopping by and just spending some time and listening to, me for whatever it's worth. Just let you know some albums that stuck out to me this year. There were a ton. I could have made this list a top 50, probably. But if you haven't checked out my honorable mentions list, make sure to run over and give that a look as well. Some great albums on there as well. Jorge, a Christian who collects death metal, signing off. Be blessed.